This video, we're going to cover integrating Zapier with WishList members. So if we go to Setup, Integrations, Other Services, you'll see Zapier listed here. Go ahead and click that. And what you'll see here is pretty straightforward. It's just going to be the URL and then the API Zapier key here that we'll need to copy over. So if we go over to Zapier, there's a couple ways you can do it. You can either do it right when you're making a Zap, or you can come over here to Connected Accounts and you can create a new account. And then we'll type in WishList member, and this will bring up a pop-up like this that we can then paste that information into. So I'll go ahead and copy this here over into the pop-up, and then we will grab our API key or Zapier key and come over here and populate that. Now you'll notice here that it says that Zapier requires a URL to use an SSL certificate. So that's one thing. If your site isn't currently using an SSL certificate, in order to use the Zapier integration, you'll need to set that up. That's sort of a requirement on their end. So that's just something to keep in mind. Of course, this also requires WishList member 3.0 or higher. All right, once that's done, just hit yes. And now that will go ahead and set up that account, and we'll see it sort of listed down here. This is the one that it actually is. So we can edit the name here. I'm just gonna use WishList demo 2, just because I've already sort of set this up. You can also hit test and it'll tell you if it's successful, so it's communicating how it needs to. From that point, it's really just about coming in and making a Zap. So if we open this up, then you'll be able to select WishList member from the Zaps that you can use. You'll see here there's a number of options that you can, different things that happen inside of WishList member that you can use as triggers. So when a member's added, this is when it's added to the site as a whole, when it's added to a level, removed from a level, uncanceled from a level, canceled from a level, and when they're removed from the site completely. We'll just click member added, and then we can select our account in here. So I'll select the one we just created, and now we'll pull in some sample data. This is actually just some sample data that we'll create so that you can get through the setup here. But of course, once this actually goes live, you'll be pulling live data. So on the trigger end of it, it's pretty straightforward. You just get WishList member set up here, and then it really just comes down to what app you want to integrate with at that point. Now, one thing I will show you is we'll also come to the action side of it. So we'll select WishList member here, and this is something you can do. You can take, when something happens on one site, you can have it do something on another WishList member site. So you can have this connect to the 1,000+ apps that Zapier has, or you can have it connect between two different WishList member sites. It's really up to you. So on the action side now, once this is triggered, again, you'll see there's a number of actions we can perform. So we can add a member, so it's adding a member overall to the site. We can add a member to the level, remove member from level, cancel a member, or uncancel a member. So let's just go into add member here, and we'll take a look at some of the options here. We can look at the different accounts. I'll just choose this one since it's a different one. And now you'll see that you can come in here and fill in the template. So the username, this is something you could get from the old site if you wanted. This is sort of dummy data, so you're going to see this no data stuff a little bit when you're setting this up, but that's okay. When there's live data, this will all be there. Okay, so update user if existing. So if there's a user with the same email address, then we'll update them, or do you want us to update them instead of overwriting them, or instead of returning an error? Email address, password, full name, first name, last name, level ID. These are all pretty straightforward. You can select the different levels that you want them added to on the new site. Transaction ID. One thing down here is you'll see this send emails. So there is an option to have the emails sent or not. By default, it's not going to send the emails. So if you want the regular emails that go out whenever someone registers to a site, a new level, etc., then you want to make sure and set this to yes. Okay. So you'll see, there's a number of different actions that can be taken when it comes to the action side of things. Every single one will have a little bit different options. So if we do add member to level here, you'll see the options are a little bit different because we're not creating a whole new account. We just need to know their email address, what level we want to add them to, and if you want to transfer over the transaction ID from the trigger account here. So most of these are pretty self-explanatory. I recommend just getting in there and playing around with it a little bit. Of course, you don't have to go just from WishList member to WishList member site. You could have someone, who does something on your mailing list, say for example an AWeber, and then you want to add them to a membership level inside WishList member. You have an email address if they're subscribed to a mailing list. So now that's basically the main thing that you need in order to create their account, is you can auto-generate a password and all that if you need to. So you can do things like that. There's lots of different things. Zapier is really just sort of an open-ended book. But the main thing is to create that account with the API information, get that all connected up. And once that account is created, then you have that WishList member account in your system. Now you can use it in all the different ways that you can use everything inside of Zapier.